When I first met her, it was as if I had stepped into a dream. She was the kind of woman men fantasize about. Stunningly beautiful, with a warm smile that could melt the iciest heart, and an effortless grace that made everything she did seem like an art form. We were young, full of hope and promise, and the world seemed wide open to us. Our early years together were nothing short of magical. She cooked like a professional chef, filling our home with the tantalizing aromas of gourmet meals that she seemed to whip up effortlessly. Our sex life was equally fantastic. There was an electric chemistry between us that kept us coming back to each other with a kind of hunger that never seemed to wane. We would often find ourselves lost in passionate moments, feeling closer than ever before. It was as if our bodies were perfectly attuned to each other's desires and rhythms. As time went on, our life together settled into a comfortable routine. We bought a charming house in a quiet suburb, and our days were filled with the simple joys of domestic bliss. On weekends, we'd host barbecues for friends and family, enjoying the laughter and camaraderie that came with these gatherings. We made plans for the future, talking about kids, vacations, and growing old together. For a long time, it felt like nothing could go wrong. Then, things began to change. It was subtle at first. A missed dinner here, a vague excuse there. She started coming home late more frequently, always with some plausible reason. Work was demanding, she'd say, or she had to help a friend. I wanted to believe her, to trust that our bond was as strong as ever. But doubt began to creep in, like a slow poison seeping through my veins. Her behavior grew more erratic. She'd be distant and cold one moment, then overly affectionate the next. I'd catch her on her phone, quickly ending calls or hiding the screen when I walked into the room. I started noticing changes in her appearance, too. She'd spend more time getting ready, buying new clothes, wearing more makeup. It was like she was trying to impress someone, but it certainly wasn't me. The first time I confronted her about it, she laughed it off, accusing me of being paranoid. "You're imagining things," she said, her tone light but her eyes hard. "You're working too much. You need to relax." I wanted to believe her, so I did. I buried my suspicions, convincing myself that I was being irrational. But the signs became too glaring to ignore. The late nights, the secretive phone calls, the sudden disinterest in our life together. It all pointed to one thing. I started to piece together a narrative that I couldn't escape from. I felt like a detective in my own home, searching for clues to confirm what my heart already knew. One night she came home later than usual, her hair disheveled, the smell of another man's cologne faintly clinging to her clothes. She tried to slip into bed quietly, but I was awake, the turmoil in my mind keeping sleep at bay. "Where were you?" I asked, my voice sounding foreign and hollow. "Out with friends," she replied, not meeting my eyes. There was a pause, a heavy silence that spoke volumes. I could see the guilt etched on her face, the way her hands trembled slightly as she pulled the covers up. It was in that moment that I knew, without a doubt, that she was cheating on me. The days that followed were a blur of arguments and accusations. She denied everything at first, but my persistence wore her down. Eventually she admitted to the affair, though she tried to downplay it, saying it was a mistake, a lapse in judgment, but her eyes betrayed her. There was a flicker of something there, a coldness that made my blood run cold. We sat down to talk about our future, a conversation that felt surreal given the circumstances. "Why?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Why did you do it?" She hesitated, her eyes avoiding mine. "I don't know," she said finally. "I guess I just wanted more excitement, more passion. Our life, it started to feel mundane." "Mundane?" I repeated, incredulous. "We had a good life. A great life, even. I thought we were happy." "I know," she said softly. "But I needed more. I need more." Her words hung in the air, a stark reminder of the chasm that had grown between us. In the end, we decided to divorce. It was a painful process, a slow unraveling of the life we had built together. We divided our possessions, our memories, our dreams. She got the house, the car, most of our savings. I didn't fight her on it. I just wanted it to be over. Dear viewers, more than 90% watch my content without subscribing. If you still have not subscribed, then I ask you to do so. For me, this is the best motivation to continue. After she left, I spiraled into a dark place. The betrayal cut deep, and I found solace at the bottom of a bottle. Nights blurred into days, and I lost myself in the haze of alcohol. Friends and family tried to reach out, offering their support and advice, but I pushed them away. I wanted to be alone with my pain, to wallow in it. One night, after too many drinks, I found myself driving aimlessly through the city. I ended up at a bar, the kind of place where lost souls gather to drown their sorrows. I sat at the counter, nursing a whiskey, when an older man took the seat next to me. He looked like he'd seen his fair share of heartache, his eyes weary but kind. "Rough night?" he asked, his voice rough but gentle. "You could say that," I replied, taking another sip of my drink. "Want to talk about it?" I hesitated, then shrugged. "What's the point? She's gone. She chose someone else." He nodded, as if he understood all too well. "It hurts like hell, doesn't it? But you know what? You'll get through it. We all do." "How?" I asked, my voice cracking. "How do you move on from something like this?" "One day at a time," he said simply. "One day at a time." His words stuck with me. The road to healing was long and hard, but slowly I started to find my way back. I quit drinking, got a therapist, and started to rebuild my life. It wasn't easy. There were days when the pain felt unbearable, when the memories would flood back and I'd feel like I was drowning all over again. But I kept going, one day at a time. I began to see her in a different light. She wasn't the angel I had once thought her to be. She was human, flawed, driven by desires and insecurities that I couldn't comprehend. She had chosen a different path, one that prioritized material possessions and superficial thrills over the deep connection we once shared. There were moments when I saw her around town. She always looked put together, her smile bright but empty. Occasionally our eyes would meet, and there would be a flicker of something, regret perhaps, or maybe just recognition of what we had lost. But those moments were fleeting, and she'd quickly turn away, resuming her charade of the perfect life. In the years that followed, I rebuilt my life from the ground up. I focused on my career, threw myself into hobbies that I had neglected, and reconnected with friends and family. Slowly but surely, I started to feel whole again. I even started dating, though it was a cautious process. The scars of betrayal ran deep, and I was wary of letting anyone get too close. Through it all, I learned a valuable lesson about choosing a life partner. It wasn't enough for someone to be beautiful or to share common interests. It was about finding someone who valued the same things I did, who prioritized loyalty, trust, and mutual respect. Someone who was willing to weather the storms of life together, rather than seeking solace in the arms of another at the first sign of trouble. One evening, years after the divorce, I ran into an old friend at a coffee shop. We sat down to catch up, and the conversation inevitably turned to my ex-wife. "I saw her the other day," he said, his tone casual. "She didn't look happy." "Really?" I replied, not sure how to feel about that. "Yeah, she was with some guy, but they looked like they were fighting. She seemed different." I nodded, a part of me feeling a pang of satisfaction. But it was quickly overshadowed by a sense of pity. She had made her choices, and now she was living with the consequences. I had made mine too, and I was finally at peace with them. Years passed, and life slowly resumed a sense of normalcy. I had a new job that I loved, friends who supported me, and hobbies that brought me joy. My heart still bore the scars of betrayal, but they no longer defined me. I had learned to live with them, to let them be a part of my story without letting them overshadow it. It was during this period of rebuilding that I met someone new. She was different from my ex-wife in almost every way. Kind, grounded, and with a genuine warmth that drew me in. Our relationship started slowly, both of us cautious and tentative, wary of rushing into something that might lead to more heartache. Our first date was simple but meaningful. We met at a small coffee shop and spent hours talking about our lives, our dreams, and our fears. There was an openness between us that felt refreshing. She had her own scars, her own past hurts, and we bonded over our shared experiences of loss and healing. Dear viewers, I ask you to subscribe to the channel under this video. I will be very grateful to you. As our relationship deepened, I found myself opening up in ways I hadn't thought possible. I told her about my marriage, the betrayal, the pain. She listened with empathy, never judging, always understanding. It felt good to be vulnerable again, to let someone see the parts of me that I'd kept hidden for so long. One evening, as we sat on my porch watching the sunset, she turned to me and asked, "Do you ever think about her?" "Sometimes," I admitted, "but not in the way you might think. It's more like a distant memory, a reminder of how far I've come." She nodded, her hand gently squeezing mine. "You've been through a lot. It's okay to have those memories. They're a part of you, but they don't define you." Her words brought a sense of peace that I hadn't felt in a long time. It was a reminder that the past, while painful, had also led me to this moment. It had shaped me, taught me valuable lessons, and ultimately, it had brought me to her. We continued to build our life together, one day at a time. There were still challenges, trust issues that needed to be addressed, fears that had to be confronted. But we faced them together, with patience and understanding. She was patient with me, allowing me the time and space to heal at my own pace. Through this new relationship, I also started to see my ex-wife in a different light. She was no longer the villain in my story, but a flawed human being who had made mistakes. I couldn't forgive her for what she had done, but I could let go of the anger and bitterness that had held me captive for so long. I realized that holding on to that resentment only hurt me. It kept me tied to the past, preventing me from fully embracing the present and the future. By letting go, I freed myself to truly move on, to open my heart to the possibilities that lay ahead. One day, as I was cleaning out an old drawer, I came across a photo of us from our wedding day. We looked so happy, so full of hope and promise. I felt a pang of sadness for the life that could have been, but also a sense of closure. That chapter of my life was over, and I was ready to move forward. I framed the photo and put it away in a box of mementos. It was a reminder of where I had been, of the lessons I had learned, but it was also a symbol of my resilience, of my ability to rebuild and find happiness again. As the years went by, I continued to grow and evolve. I found joy in the simple things: a quiet evening at home, a walk in the park, a shared laugh with a friend. I learned to appreciate the present moment, to savor the small victories and let go of the past. My relationship with my new partner blossomed into something beautiful and enduring. We supported each other through thick and thin, celebrating our successes and comforting each other in times of need. We built a life together based on trust, respect, and mutual love. Years after the divorce, my life had found a new rhythm. I had a stable job, a circle of supportive friends, and a relationship that brought me joy and fulfillment. The scars from the past were still there, but they had faded, becoming a part of the tapestry of my life rather than the defining feature. One evening, as I was enjoying a quiet night at home, I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. When I answered, I was surprised to hear my ex-wife's voice on the other end. She sounded different, more subdued, almost regretful. "Hi," she began, hesitantly. "I hope it's okay that I called. I've been thinking a lot about the past, about us. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, for everything." Her apology caught me off guard. For a moment, I didn't know how to respond. "It's been a long time," I said finally, "but I appreciate you saying that. I've made a lot of mistakes," she continued. "I thought that material things and excitement would make me happy, but I've realized that I was wrong. I hurt you, and I'm truly sorry for that." Her words, though belated, felt sincere. I had long since stopped expecting an apology from her, so hearing it now was unexpected but strangely liberating. "We were both different people back then," I replied. "We've both moved on." "Yes," she agreed. "But I wanted you to know that I regret the way things ended. I hope you found happiness." "I have," I said, a sense of peace settling over me. "And I hope you have too." We exchanged a few more polite words before ending the call. As I hung up, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Her apology didn't change the past, but it allowed me to close that chapter with a sense of finality. Life continued to move forward. My relationship with my partner grew deeper and more meaningful. We faced the ups and downs together, always communicating openly and honestly. There were no secrets, no hidden agendas, just a mutual commitment to making our relationship work. One sunny afternoon, we decided to take a trip to the beach. As we walked along the shore, hand in hand, I couldn't help but reflect on how far I had come. The ocean stretched out before us, vast and limitless, a symbol of the future that lay ahead. "I'm glad we met," she said, squeezing my hand. "I can't imagine my life without you." "Me too," I replied, feeling a surge of gratitude. "You've helped me heal in ways I never thought possible." We stood there for a while, letting the waves wash over our feet, the sun warming our skin. It was a perfect moment, a reminder of the beauty that life could offer even after the darkest of times. As we made our way back to our spot on the sand, I thought about the journey that had brought me here. It hadn't been easy, and there had been times when I had doubted whether I would ever find happiness again. But standing there with her, I realized that everything I had been through had led me to this moment. The lessons I had learned from my past relationship were invaluable. They had taught me the importance of choosing a partner who shared my values, who valued trust and loyalty above all else. They had shown me that true happiness wasn't found in material possessions or fleeting thrills, but in the quiet moments of connection and understanding. In the years that followed, I continued to build a life that was rich and fulfilling. I pursued my passions, nurtured my relationships, and always strived to be the best version of myself. There were still challenges, of course. Life was never without its obstacles, but I faced them with a newfound strength and resilience. Reflecting on my journey, I realized that the experience had changed me in profound ways. It had stripped away the illusions and forced me to confront the truth about myself and my relationships. It had taught me to value the things that truly mattered and to let go of the rest. The years following my divorce marked the beginning of a new chapter, one characterized by self-discovery, personal growth, and unexpected opportunities. My journey, though fraught with the lingering shadows of betrayal and heartache, gradually transformed into a narrative of resilience and renewal. Initially, life without her felt strange and empty. The house, once filled with the warmth of shared moments and laughter, seemed vast and silent. I moved to a smaller apartment, a cozy place that suited my new life. It was a fresh start, a blank canvas on which I could paint my future. My focus shifted towards my career. I poured myself into my work, finding solace in the structure and purpose it provided. Late nights at the office and new projects kept my mind occupied. I embraced the challenges and thrived professionally, earning a promotion and the respect of my colleagues. Work became a sanctuary, a place where I could escape from the echoes of my past. In my free time, I revisited old hobbies and discovered new passions. I joined a local hiking club, finding peace and clarity in nature. The long walks through forest trails and up mountain paths offered not only physical exercise, but also a meditative space where I could reflect and heal. Photography became a newfound interest, capturing the beauty of landscapes and the subtle details of everyday life. It was a way to see the world through a different lens, appreciating the moments I had once overlooked. My social life also saw a resurgence. Friends, old and new, played a crucial role in my recovery. They pulled me out of my solitude, inviting me to gatherings, dinners, and outings. I reconnected with people I had lost touch with and formed new bonds. One friend in particular became a close confidant. He had gone through a similar experience and offered invaluable advice and support. We spent hours talking about our lives, our regrets, and our hopes for the future. As time passed, I started to feel a desire to travel. The idea of exploring new places, meeting new people, and experiencing different cultures excited me. I took a sabbatical from work and embarked on a journey that took me across continents. From the bustling streets of Tokyo to the serene beaches of Greece, each destination brought its own unique experiences and lessons. Traveling alone was empowering. It taught me self-reliance and the joy of my own company. During my travels, I met fascinating individuals from all walks of life. One encounter, in particular, left a lasting impression. In a small cafe in Paris, I struck up a conversation with an elderly man who had been married for over 50 years. His stories of love, loss, and perseverance were both inspiring and humbling. "Love is not always easy," he told me, "but it's worth fighting for." His words resonated deeply, reminding me that despite my past, I still believed in love and its transformative power. Returning home, I felt rejuvenated and more at peace with myself. I had shed the weight of bitterness and regret, embracing a future full of possibilities. My new outlook on life extended to my relationships as well. I was no longer afraid to open up and be vulnerable. Dating, which had seemed daunting, now felt like an exciting adventure. I approached it with a sense of curiosity and openness, eager to meet someone who shared my values and passions. One evening, while attending a friend's art exhibition, I met a woman who intrigued me. She was intelligent, compassionate, and had a genuine zest for life. We talked for hours, discovering shared interests and values. Our connection was immediate and undeniable. She had her own story of heartache and resilience, and together we found comfort and strength in each other. Our relationship blossomed naturally, built on a foundation of trust and mutual respect. We took our time, allowing our bond to grow organically. There were no grand gestures or rushed declarations, just a steady, deepening connection. We supported each other's dreams and ambitions, always communicating openly and honestly. She understood my past without judgment, and I respected hers. Together, we created a safe space where we could be our true selves. As our relationship deepened, we began to discuss the future. Unlike my previous marriage, our conversations were grounded in reality, marked by a shared vision and mutual understanding. We talked about our goals, our fears, and our hopes. We acknowledged the challenges we might face, but were committed to facing them together. Our love was not about escapism or idealization. It was about partnership and growth. Eventually, we decided to move in together. It was a significant step, one that felt right. Our home became a place of warmth and laughter, a sanctuary from the outside world. We blended our lives seamlessly, each of us bringing our unique strengths and quirks into the relationship. We hosted dinners, traveled together, and built a life that was rich and fulfilling. Looking back, I realized how far I had come since the divorce. The journey had been long and arduous, but it had shaped me into the person I was meant to be. I had learned to value the things that truly mattered: trust, respect, and genuine connection. I had discovered my own resilience and the importance of self-love. Life after divorce was not the end, but a new beginning. It was a chance to rediscover myself, to heal, and to grow. It was an opportunity to build a life that was authentic and meaningful. And in the process, I had found a love that was real and enduring, a partnership that was based on mutual respect and understanding. The scars of my past were still there, but they no longer defined me. They were a part of my story, a testament to my strength and resilience. And as I looked towards the future, I did so with hope and optimism, ready to embrace whatever came next. The journey had been worth it, and I was grateful for every step.